Good Saturday morning, everybody. Welcome to KIDO Talk Radio. It's time now for the Voice of Business. Nicholas Jones with us on, the Voice of Business show. Nicholas, good to have you with us.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm glad to be here.
We take a look at the climate that we live in. How do businesses, big and small, really survive and thrive in, as you called it last week, the post-apocalyptic America?
It's a challenge. It requires adapting and some creativity. And like we talked about last time, where it's going to involve some little bets that people are going to have to take. And so that's why we have with us today Tyler and Marina with Coned. So Coned is currently located at 2976 East Overland Road in Meridian, Idaho. And they're actually looking to expand as well. But before we get into that, we're going to spend some time getting to know Tyler and Marina. So Tyler, Marina.
Hey there, thanks for having us. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Marina.
Well, good. I'm glad you're here. So it's a husband and wife team for a business here in Idaho. It can't get much better than that. How do you guys like working together?
It has its ups and downs. Obviously, there's some challenges to working together, but I couldn't ask for a better counterpart, coworker here. So it's been fun. It's been a great journey.
We actually started before we got married. We decided to go into business while we were dating.
Well, we were engaged, right?
We were not.
Oh.
So that is a giant leap. So let's talk about that real quick. So Marina, you seem to have a better recollection of this than Tyler does. So how did that come to be? How did you guys decide to go into business when you were dating?
Well, we travel the world. That's kind of how it began. That's how the Cone concept started. We were once on a trip in Italy, and we're at a street market and saw a little cart serving something that looked like pizza in a cone. The cones were tiny, just on the side of the street, and we tried it. It was delicious, and after our trip home, we just kept talking about how awesome that was, and many months, maybe a year later, I don't know, after trying different recipes, looking at different logos, looking at different ovens, etc., we decided to just pull the trigger and start our own thing here.
And were you kind of the driving force, Marina, on making that happen, or did it just
Nope.
it just kind of just Tyler was the driving force?
He was the driving force.
So tell us about that, Tyler. So you're the driving force behind Cone then.
I tend to be a little bit more of a dreamer, and she keeps me in check. She's the voice of reason, and I couldn't shut up about it. I was like, let's do this. I wasn't working a job at the time that was really, career oriented. And the idea of owning our own business, building up a brand that, we could put our pride into and, just really get behind was incredibly alluring. So, I just talked her ear off about it, I think, eventually until she said, just fine, let's do it. Shut up about it already. And rest is just kind of history.
I was like, get me a ring first.
Yeah.
Good. So the ring didn't happen first.
No, it didn't.
You guys started business first.
They actually, from what I remember, the business and the engagement started right around the same time, didn't they?
Well, so now that I remember,
Yeah.
so I actually remember you guys dating. Now that I think about it, because I met you guys when we were all food trucking it up,
Right.
Yep.
and I remember this because I had my first coned when I was at, I think it was Art in the Park or one of those events. And
Hempfest.
It was Hempfest,
Yes,
yeah.
it was the Hempfest.
And we were in the cart.
Yes, you were in. You had just your little cart. That was
That
it. You just
bulky
had a
cart,
cart.
yeah,
a
that
big
was
bulky cart.
oh, man.
And I remember looking at it. And I was like, that looks like an ice cream cone. I was like,
Yeah.
no, it's pizza. Like, how can you get much better? And I was really skeptical because I was like, I've got to get this because I'm going to see how this worked. Like, how in the world are you going to make cheese and sauce and all that goodness work in a vertical fashion? And you did it. Like, nailed it. Like, I remember eating that and I was like, I gotta go get my daughter. I'll get my daughter one, and she loved it. And in fact, whenever we get thinner pizza brands, because I like thinner pizza,
Right.
Whenever we get that, literally, like, the first thing she says is she just rolls it up and eats it like a cone because she just wants to remember your guys's.
I love it.
Oh,
your
that's
guys's
awesome.
cone. And so, whenever we're in Meridian, in that area, I always go there to get myself a pizza. And so sometimes my daughter's with me and we go and enjoy it. So for everybody listening, they have a current address over at 2976 East Overland in Meridian. It's their current location, and they are looking to expand, and we're meeting with Coned here. And so then the engagement happened, and then at what point did you guys open your first brick and mortar? Because it started with food trucks at events.
It did not. It started with a food cart.
Food cart. Sorry,
yeah.
food cart. Yes.
Yeah,
Food
yeah.
truck. Too general there. Food cart. So food
Yes.
cart. So one of the things that we talk about with the audience is little bets, starting with something that's eatable, something that you can consume, not like food wise, but if you lose it, you're not going to like lose everything that you own. So food cart. So you start with just a food cart. When did you take the leap to a food truck or food trailer?
It was about 6-8 months later that we decided to go with the food truck concept. We, as you mentioned, did start in a food cart. It's 10 by 10, and this thing was so big and bulky, and we would set
Heavy.
this thing up for every single event we'd work. We'd work these tiny little events, and we'd go out for maybe $100 in sales, which for anyone that does business is not a good number to be hitting. So we're putting an hour and a half into setting this thing up. I've got my tiny little 5'2" wife here. Well, not at the time, as we mentioned, helping me set up this cart that had to be 1,000, 2,000 pounds. And it was tough. It was really tough. Our first major events were actually at the botanical gardens during the apocalyptic winter that everyone talks about.
That was a good one.
It was
awful.
so much fun. So we'd go out in this, open air tent with this huge cart that we would set up in the snow. There's 2 feet of snow on the ground. And if anyone recalls, temperatures regularly during that winter got down to low single digits. So we're sitting out there freezing, trying to, convince ourselves that we didn't make the worst mistake of our lives. And then eventually we're like, we should really just get a food truck because this is absurd. So,
Well, what point did it come to you deciding, hey, we're going to make a little bit bigger bet? Like, I mean, you're talking about eventually, was there sales that motivated that, or was it the uncomfort or the difficulty that you realized we could
The
make this more
uncomfort.
efficient?
I mean, there was, the discomfort played a major factor into it. And, we realized that if we had gotten a truck, we would have, a little bit more signage, really. We realized that you can wrap a truck or a trailer to bring people in. That is your billboard. And, while it was a little bit more expensive, it's much
Got us
more
here.
It's much more appealing to the customer to have
And
that.
I remember your trailer. It was very, very simple, but it had coned all over it.
Right,
Like,
right.
It shouted out, "Hey, come and buy this food," and I remember that. It was good. And I remember seeing you at or Homedale too. I think you guys went and did that event as well. Is that
Is that
right?
ringing a bell? Homedale?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
Well,
sure.
There's a lot of them. You guys do a lot of events.
We do
How many-
everything.
Yeah, you do
Yeah.
everything. How many events are you guys doing?
Currently?
Oh yeah, not currently. That's a whole nother.
Previously, we stay super duper busy during the warmer season. Our season starts in about March and goes until, what do you say, November?
So
December, babe?
every major event in the Treasure Valley, we're probably there. Boise Music Fest, the fair, Spirit of Balloons,
Pride,
Pride is huge.
Idaho
Yeah,
Center
Pride's a good one.
concerts,
We do the Boise State games. We're inside the stadium.
got
we
2
have,
stands, yeah.
we have 3 now.
You have 3 stands.
We have
So
3 stands.
three
yep.
stands.
See,
Yeah.
fantastic. So the beauty it's when you're at a game, it's just carry. Like, that's the beauty in your food, is that it's
Yep.
just so easy to grab and carry, and it's very well cooked, very well done. It's just an ingenious process. And so where, like, how do you guys go about because you make your own cones, right?
Correct,
Pizza.
yep.
So do you have a machine that makes it for you?
We do, yep. So at our Meridian location, you can come in and see us actually pressing the cones daily. It's a very interesting machine that will form and mostly cook the cones. And then that's really it. I mean, we weigh out the dough to a certain amount that we've figured out tirelessly. And then we make the shells.
Do you want the whole process?
Yeah, let's
Oh,
give
okay.
us a quick
Okay.
little rundown about how we get
So-
ourselves a cone, or how you just
You
whatever
just
you
start
want
with
to share.
pizza dough. You weigh it out to a certain amount. Has to be a specific room temperature for it to work on our cone press. So we roll into a dough ball. We have this machine that looks like an outer space robot type thing. You throw the dough ball in there, press the button, it comes down, and it molds the cone into its cone shape, and it cooks it just a tiny bit. And then what do? We just use that cone.
We stuff it, and then we put it in the
Yeah.
oven
Yeah.
where it
Put
finishes
it in a
cooking.
bag and set it all done. And
Yep. And the cone so it's hollowed out when you come into the store. We can show it to you because a lot of people are like, is this an ice cream cone? Is it a waffle cone? What is it? So it's made out of pizza dough. We stuff it from the bottom to the very top. I like to tell people it's kind of like an open-ended calzone. It starts with cheese, sauce, ingredients, and it's layered all the way through. And then we put it in our pizza cone oven. It's not a regular oven. You actually cook the pizza standing up, and it turns in the oven for a few minutes, and then you get a hot, delicious cone.
And so how do you... My wife is still skeptical all the time whenever it comes into it. She just thinks that she's going to get it and it's not going to be cooked. But how do you convince people to get over that skepticism? Because everyone, I've had at least 20 of them. And how do you get people to buy in to the idea that it's not going to be improperly cooked? Like, do you guys...
We have a very particular process that we use to ensure that it is, cooked thoroughly, by layering and heating up our sauce to a certain temperature.
Okay.
There is a bit of science that goes into it.
Okay. All right, so we're going to come back here in just a little bit. We're going to go to a quick commercial break.
You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio.
All right, so we're here talking with Coned. They're a pizza place located in Meridian, Idaho at 2976 East Overland Road over in Meridian. They're open from 11 to 8 p.m., and we're just going to jump right back into where we were with you guys. So you're talking about the process. You have a very unique process that ensures it's going to taste good.
Yes, so the key is you got to have hot sauce. We don't use cold pizza sauce. And the sauce, by the way, we make every day. It's fresh. It's delicious. Lots of garlic. And you do have to layer it a specific way for it to be even throughout the cone and also cook evenly. That's all there is to it.
And so let's talk about this idea that you guys had. So you were over in Italy. You had this idea. And you're like, this could be good. And then you talked about it. You started before you got married. Now you're married. But the simplicity of the idea, it's beautiful. You take something that is unique and you bring it here into Boise, and it's obviously been well received because you're looking to open another location in the downtown area for people. And hopefully when that happens, we'll be past this post-apocalyptic environment that we're in, and so we'll see it. And I hope to see you up in my neck of the woods over there downtown. Real quick, let's talk about a husband and wife's dynamic that comes along with the struggle that comes with that. Because the benefit I have being the sole entrepreneur in my family is when I come home, work's not really there anymore. Now, I try to talk about work all the time, and my wife is constantly like, no, enough. But my wheels are spinning all the time. I don't shut off. And so the tension we have is literally just going, no more. Like, let's go on. So we don't have to deal with that. But when you guys go home, you're both the ones coming home. So
Yep.
That's a challenge that a lot of times entrepreneurs have had as a husband and wife teams, and you guys have been at it for years. So you're obviously successful at this. What is your secret sauce for making the relationship work?
I think it's having different roles. So,
Yes.
And we've learned that maybe working the same food truck event all day isn't the best idea.
Right.
Because we do things our own way. So, like, I like my area clean. He likes his cheese all over the place.
I'm a messy boy, yeah.
So we did have to learn, kind of the hard way, I guess. So we've learned that he does this and I do this. I'll take care of the store. He'll take care of the trucks. I do all the office work. He does all the phone calls. So it's separating our roles. And then we still do talk about it at the end of the night because it's like a business meeting at dinner, I guess.
It is, but it's nice to be able to confide in the person you trust most on the business that you've built together. And in my mind, there's something beautiful about that. Like, we've done this together. There's a lot of pride in it, So being able to talk next steps with, your significant other, I really do enjoy.
And so I've often longed for that. I've tried to get my wife to come in, and she just won't do it. And so but with that you have a division of roles. Do you have a hierarchy within that where someone has you maybe within your own spheres you call shots? Like, how do you guys divide that up to make it work?
I think it's what we are good at. So, like, I take care of all the scheduling, the finances, the bills, all that. He's better at taking phone calls and talking to people and giving them quotes.
I do more operations and I guess sales, if you want to call it that. I do all the bookings and make sure everything on the trucks is running properly because, in a business environment, especially in food, you have equipment that goes down. So that's my role to make sure that everything's functioning.
I make sure everyone gets paid.
Yep, she does the scheduling.
And so with your own, so in your own division, you're the boss of that area. So
yes.
So okay, so you created silos in a sense that can make it work, and then you kind of communicate in your after hours dinner meeting.
I guess so.
Yep. Yeah. So if something's wrong in our own individual sector, we'll consult one another and say, hey, I'm having this kind of issue. what do you think about this? And, we'll kind of bounce ideas off each other and go from there.
So one of the things about entrepreneurship that makes activities valuable is that sometimes people just fall into things that you're talking about, these successes, where you have a husband and wife team. It's notorious that you have husband and wife teams in the past that just, it's fights, it's contention, but from the interaction that I've seen with you guys over and over, there's not that. Now, there's always going to be fights that are going to come up about little dumb things.
Right.
My wife and I fought about popcorn once.
Oh, boy.
But they're just dumb things.
Yep.
But you make it work, you move on, and it's that you grow because contention's bad, but conflict helps you grow. And so it seems that you guys have learned that and incorporated it. And a lot of the times when we have thought leaders in the entrepreneurial world, it's people who are in your boat, who go into something and naturally just have a knack to make it work. And then you can start to focus on areas where you lack. And so you guys have found silos that you can work in, and I think that's fantastic. And so let's talk a little bit more about some post-apocalyptic world that we're dealing in right now. So a lot of what we've been talking about is with these events and everything. There's no events this summer right now.
No.
I mean, but right now we're going to have Pride Fest in September, right? So
Maybe
we'll see. Yeah.
I am going to put my blinders on and I'm going to say we're going to do it, because I want to get that done. We're talking about, potentially still doing Hyde Park Street Fair, quote, that's in quotes. But then again, they had our little meeting a little bit ago to talk about that. So we'll see what they come back with that. I mean, and are you guys in the tree fort?
We
No.
are not. No.
You're not. Okay. So we'll see what's happening in September, right?
I mean, it's only a month out from all of our other events that have been canceled through August, so it's really hard to say. We want to be optimistic, but we also want to be realistic, and it seems like those events probably will not happen. So planning for the long term as a contingency plan is something that we're operating with right now.
And so when you're talking about plan for long term, is that why you're looking to open another physical location?
We feel that right now would be the best time for us to do it because we have a lot more time than we normally would during this season. We are so busy with food truck events during this time generally that it wouldn't even be a remote possibility for us to open something new. So it's...
How many events did you typically do before the...
we've got 2 trucks and we run it constantly.
Every day.
So
Every day.
we haven't counted it up, but it had to be like a couple hundred plus at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did 42 at my peak when I was doing food trucks, and you were to every single one. Like every single one I was there.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we'll do caterings and stuff like that to fill the week, and food truck rallies, and
Graduation parties, weddings, you name it, we've done it.
So how do you get the people to join? I'd like to not to join. I'm sorry. How do you get people to book you? Like, is there what funnel have you created? Like, is it just you cold calling people, or like how do you get them in your funnel?
When we first started, it was a lot of cold calls. At this point, we've been around long enough where word of mouth has really spread, where people call us and want to book us out, and either we're available or we're not. So it's been a really nice transition. Calling people like, hey, I have this food cart I'd love to bring out. We do pizza in a cone. And they're like, you're crazy. I don't know what that is. No way. And now people are like, oh, pizza in a cone. So they give us a call and they already know what we are.
Good,
and that's the benefit of, our product is now that it has caught on, it really markets itself because it creates conversation. It creates intrigue. When you bring the truck out to an event, it is definitely a conversational topic. As you mentioned earlier, like, oh, pizza in a cone.
It's unique. I love it.
And
I bought it specifically because I was like, crap, this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. I just love the uniqueness of that. I just think it's genius. And
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's great.
And the ability to implement that concept that you guys have. You started little bets, moving it forward, moving to bigger and greater things, and now you're going to have a second location. One you said downtown area, and then and then one in you got one in Meridian, and so it's fantastic. And so so give us a little information for the listeners real quick. So where can they go to find your website, and what other information you want to drop on how they can reach out to you?
So you can find us on Facebook. Just search for Cone Pizza. We're on Instagram, Cone Boise. We have a website, conepizza.com. And on there, if you need to ask for a catering event, you can submit a submission, and we'll get back to you usually within minutes. That's about it. And then our numbers all over our trucks, and our location is there. there's lots of ways to find us.
Okay, perfect. Well, good. So let's talk. So we're talking about post-apocalypse here.
Yes.
What have you guys done to adapt?
It's really a week by week basis based on how quickly things are changing. There's no silver bullet to what we've been able to do. We're just really limping through.
Actually, it's a new thing right now to have trucks in your neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And at first, when it kind of started, we reached out to a few neighborhoods we know or where we have friends that we live. And now, since it's a thing, people are just contacting us constantly. Hey, can we have your truck out? Hey, we need some excitement here. Can we help you out? And so that's been kind of getting the trucks by, which has been great.
So on that, have you guys thought about switchback? Have you guys looked into that over there in the East End?
Yeah, we've
Do
tried
do
it a
that
couple times.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think I remember. I did see you guys there.
We were there
Okay.
actually this past weekend.
Yeah, I remember seeing you guys. Now that I'm thinking back about it, so we're good. Never mind.
All right.
So that's good. I like that. Okay, so that's good. So that's actually a fantastic idea. So what are you doing in the stores? Like, how are you managing the stores? I mean, sales for me on in my brick and mortars, I mean, 50% like of what I was before, and so in a general sense. So how are you guys adapting? Like what has it done?
Well, honestly,
We're going to, and actually we'll come right back to that here in just a moment. We're just going to go to a quick break and we'll come right back. All right, so we're back here talking with Coned. Their location currently is in Meridian at 2976 East Overland Road. You can find them at conedpizza.com as well as on their Facebook page. Marina, would you help me out with that again? What was your Facebook page name?
yeah, just search for Coned Pizza.
Coned
and we'll show
Pizza.
up.
And you can also find them on Coned Boise on Instagram.
Yes.
So we're talking about some post-apocalyptic environment that we're dealing with now and how you guys adapted and how it affected your store. So again, as reiterating it, I find myself about 50% of what I was before, and which is pretty common among the areas. But I've had to do some creative things to get by. And so, what kind of things have you been doing to adapt within your store? How is your environment changed so you can survive?
Honestly, the biggest difference right now is that I am now in the store full time. I did not used to be. I would just do behind the scenes, and I am there every day, open to close. And as you know, payroll can catch up to you real quick. So that's been helping a lot. I have Tyler in the store more often too. There were some employees that we just had to let go in the beginning, but everyone that wanted the job back was able to come back because I'm there more often to help out. And we're still doing our specials. So we do Kids Cone Wednesdays where it's $2 for a Kids Cone. We do Double Punch Thursday so that our regulars are still excited about that. They're coming in. But other than that, we're just taking it day by day.
So let's talk about your loyalty program. You talked about Double Punch. So how effective have you found your loyalty program to be pre-pandemic?
It's been awesome. I order so many punch cards a month. We have people who come in specifically on Thursdays to get their double punches, and I love it. Doesn't
Good.
bother me one bit.
Good. And have you done any advertising for the punch thing on like Facebook or anything like that, or is it it's just a word of mouth? Like it's just been natural growth?
With our social media, sometimes I post the different specials we have, but not to get too annoying. I just don't mention it all the time. Every time we're in the store with every transaction, though, we train our staff. Do you have a punch card? Would you like another one? Did you forget it? That's okay. We'll get you another one. We constantly remind people that it's okay. Just use it as much as you want.
Yeah, punch cards are really good, in our opinion, because if someone has forgotten about your brand, they look in their wallet. Oh yeah, I remember this
right
place.
there.
I gotta get back.
See, I didn't think about that because it actually does create a little like, oh hey, I remember now.
Mm-hmm.
So good for me to think.
Yeah.
I'm
It's like
learning
a
stuff from you
mileage
guys
plan.
now. Yeah, you see it. It's like, oh,
Yep.
it's right there, and then I got to go back.
Yep. I use the crap out of punch cards. I love them.
Yeah. My wife does too. That's her thing. So my wife's gotten on a coupon kick, and that's been her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's the
That's
last
awesome.
little bit, and it's it's the changing environment.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about delivery services. So that's kind of the thing that people love.
Mm-hmm.
They love delivery services, and sometimes people wanted to do it to help. But let's talk a little bit about kind of the bane. I've vented on it before, but what kind of struggles do you guys have encountered with those delivery services?
So we've recently started utilizing a few different services, and it's nice to have the option, but what a lot of people don't realize is while they think they're helping support local businesses with these delivery services, a lot of these delivery services make their money off of the businesses by charging us a certain amount to put our food out. And we don't actually make a whole lot of money, and sometimes we're paying to send this food out in hopes of advertising the brand. So just kind of creating a little bit of awareness around that, I think, is super important.
So if people want to support you, they want to come in and they want to get some food. So you wouldn't recommend the delivery service if they're going to be coming by. So how can they buy food from you if they're not going to get it from delivery service? Like what kind of, outside of coming directly into the store to order the food, is you got a website?
Yeah, we have a link on our Square website that you can pre-order, specify what time you want to come in, and exactly what you want to order, and we'll have it ready for you.
Just have it ready for you. Perfect. And then, and so that's a good way to do it.
We'll run it out to your car. Just tell us what
so you
car
have
you're
some
driving,
curbside.
what time. There's a space for notes. If you don't want to get out, just bring it to you with their mask on.
Perfect. Good deal. So you guys do wear masks then inside the restaurant as well for people.
Yep.
Good. So keeping people safe so they don't get the COVID. which is
Right.
good.
Right.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about how you guys are making it work relation, and we talked a little bit about how you're making the business work. You know, what are your hopes going to happen here coming up in the future to get out of this apocalypse that we're in?
Just that we can stabilize and get back to some sense of normalcy, really. I mean, I don't know if there's anything beyond that, just surviving, making sure the business
Surviving.
can
No,
weather the storm.
thriving. I hope next year, everyone is so tired of doing nothing. I hope next year that we're tripling our food truck events, that there's concerts every weekend. I want to be doing everything.
But we got to get there first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to take some time on getting there.
I have high hopes.
So Tyler, what advice would you give to people who are starting out, trying to look into doing a business to be able to get to the point you're at? What advice would you have for them?
In right now's climate, wait.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah. But in a normal world, like we touched on earlier, just kind of take baby steps. Do what's achievable. Just got to have passion for it, really. You're going to fall on your face a lot, and that's part of business, is learning from your mistakes. You really adapt or die. If you don't change your ways, it can be really harmful to the business, but just keep trucking along. Sometimes it can be really disheartening, and we still fall into pits like that, like we're in right now. It's rough. I mean, if business was easy, everyone would be doing it. So just keep your chin up and keep trucking along, really.
My favorite quote is, or one of them is, be brave enough to suck at something new.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Because you're
That's
never
that.
going to be good at something that you have no experience in. You just got to go in, suck at it,
Fall on your face
fall on
a
your
lot.
face, and then you're
get
like,
up.
okay, what did I do wrong when I fell on my face last time? Okay, just don't repeat your mistakes. Like, we look back at some of the stuff that we did when we first started, like that big bulky cart in 2 feet of snow and 6-degree weather, and we're like, what were we thinking? Why did we do
I have
that?
a lot of those moments.
Yeah, but as long as you don't repeat that mistake, you can grow from it and come out stronger, really.
We actually still have that cart.
Yeah, it's in our
Memorial.
garage.
And we actually still use it in the winter.
Do you
but
really?
We do it for inside events like the Canyon County Kids Expo.
Yep, so that's
it's
a
turned
town
out
square
to be
event.
kind of a blessing in disguise.
Well, good. So, see, failure has mixed max. We're just like, hey, this didn't work here, but I can apply it somewhere else. And because you've got 2 trucks and the cart now, right?
In the
Yep.
store.
And the store.
And the store. So for everyone just coming in and listening, the store for Coned is located at 2976 East Overland Road in Meridian, and you can go to conedpizza.com to get to either place an online order or to find more about Coned. And so let's talk a little bit more about the pandemic that we're in right now. So we're talking a little bit about how you're adapting, how you're trying to grow and explore like options about how to survive. How has this affected like the relationship with you guys and your husband and wife situation? Like has it created any tensions for you guys as you're going through this, or it's just the same type of thing? It's just a new struggle you're going at together.
We're pretty good at adapting, and we kind of.
Adapt seems to be a synonymous with entrepreneurship. You have to adapt.
Yeah,
like,
we
you
just-
can't hold to one thing too much.
It's out of our control, and if we're having a bad day, we just blame it on the pandemic and go to bed.
For us, we kind of look at it as a challenge, and us as individuals seeing a challenging situation gives us an opportunity to create a solution. So in ways, it can be kind of fun to say, hey, here's a puzzle. Let's try to put it together. And right now, it has really stretched our creativity and has allowed us to think outside of the box, which is why we are looking into, expanding locations. Hey, here's the problem. How can we get out of this? Well, here's a solution. Let's explore that and see if it helps us out.
And has having the store in Meridian helped with your brand identity? Has it helped with? I mean, because it's kind of tucked away a little bit, but have you seen an increase in awareness that's occurred by having a physical location?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. It's when we first were on the trucks, people kept saying, "Do you have a store? Do you have a store?" And we're like, "We have to get a store." Everyone keeps asking. However, we did get it in a tucked away location, but we've only been open for 2 years, and it's gone okay. We definitely want a location where there's more foot traffic
because with our product,
yeah, that's definitely a downtown type of.
And also, the store has a way bigger menu. So on the truck, we bring like 4 or 5 popular items. The store, we have salads, we have boneless wings, we have breadsticks, we have kids cones, we have dessert cones. There's so many options, which is why we'd love to have a location where we can share that with more people.
I mean, the original driving factor behind opening the store was really to have a commissary kitchen, because as a food truck, you have to have a commissary kitchen that you pay for. So opening a restaurant location in our minds made sense, and still does, because you have a spot where you can manufacture your cones, you can store your product, you can wash your dishes, and you can keep permanent employees to pull out onto events while still making a little bit of money on the side. So that's really the main purpose behind that particular location. And now that we've kind of, established ourselves in that,
we want more.
We want to have an actual, restaurant that serves its purpose as a restaurant. And that's why we're looking at downtown.
Oh, good. Downtown's a good spot. How has this affected because you mentioned you guys like to travel. How has having these physical stores affected that? I mean, because we often, when I started a business, like I did the food trucks initially because I'd worked during the summer, and then I allowed me to explore creativity the rest of the time for me. But how has this affected your travel?
It really hasn't too much, honestly, because we still see those same kinds of patterns as you would in the food truck scene. For us as a restaurant, we really slow down in winter so we can keep a couple employees that we trust to run the restaurant and don't have food truck stuff going on. So you only need a few people, and we can dip out for a couple weeks at a time. I just need to find a dog sitter, really. And then,
that's the biggest struggle.
You're just a dog sitter, huh?
Yeah. We got 2 golden doodles.
Oh, nice. Those are the good ones.
They are
the
great.
Good ones.
We love our puppies.
All right, so we are going to come back to listen to more what you have to say here in just a little bit. Welcome back. So we're talking with Coned, and you guys have a restaurant downtown again in Meridian, Idaho. Not downtown. You're looking to expand to downtown. Right. You've got one in Meridian, Idaho at 2976 East Overland. You can go to, again, you can go to conedpizza.com if you want some more information. So you guys are living the entrepreneurship dream in a sense, where there's struggle that's involved. And I want to dig a little bit more into that. So I want to talk with you about passion. Like, where's the passion? Like, why pizza? Like, why this? I mean, it's a unique idea, but why did you lay hold so hard onto this one concept where you've dug in and you've opened a store? I think that a lot of our driving force for this particular product really comes down to a personal level. Seeing this product as we were traveling, and kind of recanting on that moment and the joy we felt during that time, really kind of creates additional joy for us. Every time we make a pizza cone, and seeing the excitement that we're capable of bringing when someone sees a pizza cone. When you provide food to someone and it's good food, you can make that person a little bit happier in that moment. And being responsible for that happiness is really unlike anything else you can do. So that, in my opinion, is really the driving force behind it. Fantastic. Marina?
I was at Walmart buying napkins the other day, true story, and I was wearing my cone shirt, and this little boy comes up to me and he says, "Mommy, this is my favorite fancy pizza place ever. Can we go there for lunch?" And they did. And they had a pepperoni cone and a chicken Alfredo cone, and that made me happy. And it made the kid happy, and then it makes the parents happy because the kid knows what they want to eat. So I like those feelings.
And to your point, didn't you have a bridal party order a bunch of cones the other night too? Because she said coned was her favorite.
Yeah, it was a Thursday night. The store was kind of dead, and we get this huge order. And I was like, "What? Why are you doing this? What? It's a huge order." And she says, "Well, my daughter's having her bachelorette." And I said, "What's your favorite place to eat?" And she said, "Coned." And so they came in
there you go.
and ordered for an entire bachelorette party. It was awesome. I love that.
So getting those kind of stories and that kind of feedback for something that you've provided is really, really fulfilling.
I like it. So I was at I can relate to that because I was in Costco and had someone run up to me in the Costco. I was like, "Hey, let me show you this," and he pulled up his leg and he had my logo tattooed on.
Oh wow!
What?
I don't think we have any of those yet. But.
You'll get there. You'll get there. Like when I saw it, I was like, I got to take a picture of this. And so I took a picture of him, put it on my Instagram. I was like, this is real. Like someone
Wow.
actually put this logo on their body. And so let's talk about the cost though. So in order to get to where we are, and I'm not talking about financial cost. I'm talking about time, effort, everything that goes into this. Like, what is the cost of being able to get where you are?
Sacrifice, really. And there's a whole lot of uncertainty involved because in business, there is a great risk that you are going to fail. We had really a perfect arrangement where I didn't have a super stable career, so I could put forth a lot more of my time. And, if the business failed, I could go get a part-time job. And she still worked full-time in order to ensure that, we could get our bills paid. When people talk to me about opening up a restaurant, I always suggest starting with a food truck first, because in the mobile industry, what you can do is you can still keep a job and you can go out and work these events around your job until it is lucrative enough to where you can quit. If you fail, which is certainly a possibility, you could turn around, you could sell your equipment and just continue working. With a restaurant environment, you're locked into a lease, and the failure rate is staggeringly high with restaurants.
Yeah, it was like 70%.
It's
like
really,
way too
really high. So, if you fail in a restaurant environment, you've given up your job, you have no income. And for anyone that has run, a business, that for the first while, you're not super profitable. So you have no money coming in. Your failure rate is borderline catastrophic. Mm-hmm. And if and when you fail, you have nothing to fall back on. You can't sell your equipment because you're likely, locked in a loan, and you've defaulted and, ruined your credit if you've signed a personal guarantee. But we were really, really lucky because we took steps to start mobile first, and she was still able to keep her job, and we, kept our income flowing, balanced. And he said not, about financial, but kind of steered in that direction. Mm-hmm. But really sacrificing, personal life. We have given up a lot of aspects of our personal lives. We've missed birthdays, weddings, bridal showers, and it sucks. You feel bad about it. But, as I mentioned earlier, if business were easy, everyone would be doing it.
When I was in the food truck game for a period of time, I remember the when I was dating my wife and we were, getting married and going through the thing. Like the main thing was like, she's like, I just want a normal life. Like I want to be able to go out on summer. Like you can't do that. Like it's like, no, we work really hard during the summer. I remember pulling a 120-hour week.
Oh yeah,
like at
normal. That's normal.
That's super normal.
Yeah. Here's the thing that people don't understand. People think you just show up with your food truck, you open your doors, and you make millions. People don't think about the hours you put into prep and then cleanup, and then if you didn't sell enough, what do you do with that food? You can't just resell it. You can't. And people don't think about the sacrifices. For example, we had to cut our honeymoon short because we got accepted into the fair, which is a huge
opportunity.
Mm-hmm. We're like, well, okay, Bora Bora is cool, but the fair is going to pay our bills in the long run. So what happens? We book a flight home, and then on our Seattle connection, the train stopped. He made it on the train. I didn't. He made it home. I didn't. All the flights were sold out. So what happens is I have to drive home. I get a flat tire on the way home. Oh, my GPS doesn't work. Yeah. I come home finally, and the next thing we do is we're setting up for the fair.
We were working an event before the fair, too. You showed up with dirt all over you, and I was like, what happened? And you're like, my tire exploded, and I was stuck in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, well, I'm happy you're here. Start taking orders.
That's exactly how that conversation went.
So it is a lot of sacrifice. You just give up any semblance of a personal life during, the busy times. And that's something that we have really adapted to. And how we unwind is by traveling during that winter period. We have something to look forward to. We've got these trips planned. let's get through the season. Let's do those 120-hour work weeks and just grind. We like to call it a reverse teacher schedule because we get winters off and we work all through the summer.
Yep, that's what I always call it.
You know how it is.
Yeah, I know how it is. My daughter would go with me to a couple of them, and one day like we got a rush and moving along, and I before I realized it, we 8 hours had gone by, and my daughter's dead tired and just cries, and she's like, it's so hard, and it's like, I know.
I've seen her making crepes before.
Yeah. She's good. She's a hard worker, man. She earns her money for that, and
That's
so
good.
so good. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time to share with about your business and some advice and what can happen. And so the final question that I have for you guys is relating specifically along what's the golden plan here. So we've talked a little bit about, we know that you guys you've got we went with the food trucks, you scaled up into some brick and mortar stores over in Meridian, you're looking to expand downtown. What's the golden plan? Like, where do you want to go next? Like, what's the goal? Like, what's the end game?
We don't really have one, to be honest with you. It's more like, we come up with ideas and we discuss them and see if it's realistic at the time. The whole 5-10 year plan in our mind doesn't really make sense because you don't know where you'll be at that time.
Okay.
I know it's a really popular corporate interview question, what's your 10-year plan? It's impossible to say with business because we don't know the landscape of things. What if we go through another pandemic in 2 or 3 years?
Joy.
This isn't something we plan for at all. We were planning on, potentially our busiest food truck season yet. Now we're scrambling to try to find answers, and you just got to get creative. So, no golden plan, really. We'll just talk about, potential opportunities as they come up. Certain doors open, certain ones close, and we kind of just go from there and see if it's realistic.
Well, from the very beginning, we did always want a spot downtown. We always talked that would be so cool. It'd
that
be
is a major
so
goal, for
awesome.
sure.
So now that we are in the works of making it happen, it's pretty exciting. And I don't have any other plans beyond that at this point, but that
see
could
what
always
happens.
change.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. So we've been listening to the owners of Coned, Tyler and Marina. And I would encourage everybody to go out and take a chance to on their Cone Pizza over in the Meridian store, and then also the downtown store when they get an opportunity. And if you happen to see them at an event coming up here, hopefully, make sure you walk up and say, hey, I'd love to have a Cone Pizza.
And Nicholas, if people want to get a hold of you or more information about the program and how to become an entrepreneur, how do they do that?
Well, you can head over to voiceofbusiness.com. You can also go over to our Facebook page, which is obviously, facebook.com/voiceofbusiness. And right now you can go on there and add your email to be added to our email list. And you can reach out to me at any time over Facebook or over the website.
Are you inspired to get back into this after hearing the interview?
I am. I'm
tell.
ready to go and get myself some pizza.
Aren't we all? Have a great day. Good morning, everybody. You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio.